Good morning. Happy Thursday. We are moving into Hebrews chapter 12. We're in this key section. I just finished hosting a podcast with two men, John Yates, a longtime rector of a church, George Washington's church initially in Washington, Falls Church, Virginia. He was there for 40 years, pastoring a congregation that included lots of members of the government, Supreme Court justices, and others. And then Crawford Loritz, who is the vice chair of Campus Crusade, speaker, author, big radio program, pastor of a church in Georgia. And he's also just about to retire. And so the question was, I was interviewing him around the question of how do you pastor during this particularly divisive moment in our country. And I asked the question, what is sustaining you during this time? And John said, I have been living in Hebrews between chapters 10 and chapters 13. So that is exactly where we are camped right now. We are in Hebrews, just moving out of Hebrews 11, moving into Hebrews chapter 12. So I didn't finish Hebrews 11 in the sense I didn't go through all the lists of names. So faith was defined, that's where we spent our time. And then there starts to be lists of all these people who made it into the hall of faith. For the most part, they're names that you recognize, perhaps not all of them, but they're broken people. You sort of get that they had faith and they had some great moments, but they're obviously lives marked with sin as well. And we are reminded when we look at these chronologies and other lists of people that there's only one true hero that gets it all right, that's Jesus. And also, oftentimes when we dig into these lists of names, we can see that they are often pointing us to Christ. For instance, the list starts with Abel, who was killed by Cain, his blood cries out. Well, Jesus is the new and better Abel, whose blood is for our redemption. So lots there, but it takes time, and we had already spent a week in Hebrews 11. So we're into Hebrews chapter 12 now, and what we get is a pivot from looking back to people of faith to looking forward. And the analogy that is used here, something started in Hebrews chapter 10 about pushing on through hard things. There's a backdrop of a race. And it really comes into full circle now when we get to Hebrews chapter 12. So let me read the first few verses for you. Hebrews chapter 12, 1. Therefore, this is a big therefore again. So therefore, in light of who Jesus is, how much better he is than everyone else, in light of the fact that we're supposed to push through the difficult things and we can, in light of all the people who have already pushed through difficult times, right? In light of all that, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, this is the list of all the people of faith. And some will ask, does that mean that people in heaven are looking down on us? We don't get an answer. More interesting point, the word that's translated witness here is actually in Greek, it's the word martyr. But martyrs, initially, when it was used in the New Testament, it didn't mean people who were going to die. It's just that so often those that were offering a testimony to Christ, that were witnessing for their faith, were killed for their faith. So the word witness and the word, somebody that sacrificed their life for Christ became synonymous. And so I don't think people ask, is my loved one looking down on me? I don't think so, because it's not meant to show disrespect to them or to you, but I think that we're focused, we're enraptured by Christ, and that overwhelms everything else. Anyway, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. So let me just say, let me just leave you with a question. What is slowing you down? So we're to throw off every weight and the sin that so easily entangles us, clings to us. We can be sidetracked by sin, but not all the things that sidetrack us are sin. Some things are good things. They just are they're too important, or they become too prioritized in our life. And so I just will leave you with that question today. What is slowing you down? What is holding you back from running the race in a way that allows you to win? We'll talk tomorrow.